Okay, let's get this started. All right, welcome to the SEO Science Show. My name is Josh Science Man Baczynski, and I'm here to bring the SEO Science Show to you. It's the show where we do SEO science to try to find out what the actual ranking factors are and make a grand unified theory of ranking, which we have. And we break it down into 8 buckets of important things you need to spend time and money for. And I'd like to talk to you about those buckets today, and I should really add another bucket, and I'm going to try to hint as well as I can to that. This is the public show where I try to give out as much free information as possible. If you want to join my private mentorship group where I spill all the beans, and we have a 60% success rate of just general students. I'd say about an 80% success rate of people who should have been in SEO to begin with. If you read between the lines what I'm saying there's some people who join who I'm like, sink or swim, go for it. And maybe they didn't have the technical knowledge, know-how. They have about a 60% success rate, so better than even odds. But the people who should be in SEO, they have a much better success rate. Anyway, so at least we know what our success rate is. I tell it to you, and I'm going to tell you more stuff, whatever I can tell you. If you're watching live on YouTube, there are going to be a chat on the top right-hand side. Feel free to ask any questions you want there. If there's a lot of chat, please make sure to have asterisks beside it so I can see it with my giant Coke bottle glasses. Live show on now, he says to some followers. So as I promised, I don't know if you noticed my last week's video, but I got a lot of feedback on the last week's video where I said SEO is 80% dead. And I meant what I said. I didn't mean that to rhyme. Is rhyming a crime? No. I meant what I said, but I really mean SEO is 80% dead because Google now has algorithms to. The picture for this video looks hilarious. It looks like I'm drunk, which it's a Christmas drink, folks. If you have a Christmas drink, by all means, drink it. It's SEO Miss again. Josh, the other title for this video should be Josh gets tanked and makes SEO videos. Josh gets tanked, and instead of yelling at the TV upstairs, he yells at the screen downstairs. But this time people are listening and watching, except for the FBI and whoever else is watching me upstairs. So if you have any questions, by all means, please ask. If you would like me to take an SEO audit of your site, I can do that. I can also run Screaming Frog on it and get some information about what's going on. I could take a 40,000 foot view. I could take a 40,000 foot view of your site, and I could try to tell what's going on it and try to give you some free advice and stuff about what's going on there. So as I said, today I want to kind of focus on the buckets. So we've done all this scientific testing for the last 2 years, and it's been amazing. It's been incredible. It's been eye-opening. I thought I knew how SEO worked before when I was a SEO, and I was a pretty good SEO. Just listening to Google, just listening to the forums, and reading between the lines. And I was pretty good, but I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. Nothing, zilch, crap, compared to what I know now. Compared to what our scientific experiments have found out, compared to how lucky we got in some experiments, and just like, whoa, like the cure to SEO cancer showed up to us. Like, I don't want to belittle people out there who might have had to suffer through cancer in their life or their family's life, as I have in mine. But we found it. We found the cure to SEO cancer. Like this last SEO algorithm that has been going out, other people have been mentioning it. I've seen other people have been posting it on boards. I don't go to these boards. There's no point in going to these boards because they're a complete waste of time. But some of my students are still on these boards, and they're like, hey, Josh, look, people are talking about your video again, which is not surprising. People are always talking about my video, no matter whether I'm trying to not say anything controversial or whether I'm trying to say something controversial. People are always talking about my videos because I've been doing this for a while, and I have somewhat of a I'm somewhat famous, or you can put a little bracket IN in front of that if you want. Somewhat infamous. Disavow Gate, remember that? And, taking on Google and making a documentary and yada, yada, etc. And a TEDx talk, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so Google has been attacking SEOs. They've finally gone and written that full-on anti SEO algorithm that they've always been hinting at and, suggesting they were going to do. And Matt Cutts, when I talked to him, whatever SMX 5 years ago or said, even when he was still with Google, he's like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to mess with SEOs. And he's talking big. And I'm like, sure, Matt, sure you will. Well, finally they have. He's not there anymore, but finally they've gotten around to it. And I know why they were dragging their heels on it, because if you talk to, and I have talked to personally with Google engineers, Google Webmaster Trends analysts like John Mueller or Gary Illich out of the Zurich office, or Andre Lepotsev out of the Dublin office, or Paul Haar, the senior engineer, who I suspect could have been the lead search guy for a while. I'm not the CEO. That was, what's his face, Sundar, I think it was. And now he's running Alphabet, and someone else is the CEO of Google Search. But I mean the head of the search team, because the CEO of Google Search doesn't really do much. They're mostly a figurehead, as far as I understand it. It's the head of the search team and the web spam team. Used to be Matt Cutts and Matt Singhal. They used to share an office back in the day, actually. Which makes sense, because the web spam team and the search team, they have to kind of black hat SEO and white hat SEO and SEO in general has to kind of really talk to each other. And so now Google said, screw all that. Humans are not going to run this anymore. We've written an artificial intelligence, a set of artificial intelligence, actually, that talk back and forth, including RankBrain and BERT, including those two. They're part of the rubric of the entire kind of scheme. But it's not, when I say artificial intelligence, don't think of like Terminator, either the good movies or the bad movies. Don't think of it's not dun 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 dun. It's not that, right? It's literally this machine learning algorithm talking with this machine learning algorithm, and they don't understand anything. They just get input, output, that's it. And they just condition that data a couple times and ping it back and forth, and then randomly switch things up. And it's that random switching things up. It happens at about 80% now on the SERP. That's why SEO is 80% dead. And if you can exist on 20% of the rankings you had previously, or if you can exist with 20% of the chance you had previously to rank, well, then you're darn lucky. You're in an industry where you really don't need search anyway. I guess you're in an industry which is evergreen, or people already know about you, and you don't actually have to be found for informative queries. Not that many anyway. So good for you. That's fantastic. I'm not belittling you in any way. It does rub other SEOs such as myself the wrong way when some in-house SEOs who have it very lucky then claim SEO is easy, or that they know how to do it. When you haven't tried to rank in an affiliate niche, have you ever tried to rank herbal pills? Have you ever tried to rank casino stuff? Have you ever tried to rank payday loans? Then you have no idea how to do SEO. If you haven't tried to rank something difficult, and even like the long tail queries that used to be easy, like best mattress topper or something like that, those are getting exceedingly difficult, and Google has anti SEO algorithms in place to try and trip you. Now, sorry, there's a long segue. So, and I've been noticing this. I made my video last week, because I was like, blah blah blah. I had made a video for months because my competitors just steal the information and then try to figure out on their own. But I feel it's so sufficiently difficult now. Google's made it so difficult. I don't think they're ever going to figure it out. And so you really can't figure out SEO these days. Even the smart guys, like some of my former co-hosts who are some of which are fairly intelligent. Even they are not smart enough to figure it out. Mostly because of pride, I think, specifically. Or they're just too busy, or whatever it is. I don't know. But however, I got lucky enough that I figured it out. We solved all these SEO algorithms, and it was just eye-opening with what we've discovered. If you want that information, it's in the private mentorship group. That's at secretseo.guru. I have limited space. I don't allow everybody in. I would email me sooner rather than later if you want to get in on that. If you've had trouble with the algorithm recently, I would email me sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. Not sooner rather than lady. I should have another drink. Slur my speech a bit more. I would email me sooner rather than later to try to get into the group, because I do close it, and I do canvas for good students as well. If you don't look like you're a good fit for our group, I'm not going to let you in. So I would find out sooner rather than later where you can get into the best group, the only group that really knows what's going on, because quite frankly, and people don't like it when I say this because it sounds so very self-serving, but this is just a fact, and this is just the way it is. I don't know of any other science SEO group out there that knows what they're doing, except for Google. Really, it's me and Google. I really don't. If I did, I'd tell you, right? I'd say, these guys are good, blah, blah, blah. Jordan Pierce is great for local. If you're doing local, seek out Jordan Pierce. And I'm trying to get Jordan to come onto the show more. And I could completely recommend him for that. But in terms of semantic search, in terms of general informational search, Yeah, there's really no one else out there who has any idea what they're talking about. At best, they're guessing. A good 30 to 40% of what they're saying is wrong, if not more, probably far more. So, and if they're having any success at all, they're either just A, lying, they lie. Newsflash, they lie. B, the success isn't as much as it is, or they're working in really easy niches, or they don't rank anything. They just have, people on their forums who just ask them questions and stuff like that. I rank stuff. I show my students what I'm trying to rank. I'm fully transparent with everything I'm trying to rank. I do experiments on everything I'm trying to rank. So they see what's going on. You can see the wins at bit.ly/SEO proof, bit.ly/SEO proof. Don't listen to me. Go look at that. Go look at all the examples we have in there of success, of rankings going up, of traffic going up, rankings going up in terms of to number one, traffic going up, impressions going up, because we know what we're doing because we found this stuff out. So that's more than just an advertisement for the mentorship group. I want you to read between the lines and understand that if you're not in a group like this, if you don't have the seed cash, the days where SEO could be done for free and watching free videos is gone. I'm sorry. The internet gold rush is long over. San Francisco has been mined. San Francisco has been built on that gold. And now you need to pay rent to live in San Francisco, right? It's just, I'm sorry those days are over. You missed it. You're too late. You're even too late for cryptocurrency. Like that ship is mostly sailed, although there could be new ones that come out that are exciting. Sorry, all those ships have sailed. So I don't want you to waste your time and money. And I don't want you to waste your time and effort in thinking you don't have to spend any money to do this. You do need to get it with a program. And mine is the only one that's worth it that I know of that actually has stats that tell you what your chances are and things like that. You could, of course, go on to Upwork and try to get work that way. If you know web design or web development, that's still a good bet for internet marketing in general. Writers don't make any money on there because anyone can learn English, and then you're competing with people in India and the Philippines. God bless them. I love them, but they can live on very little compared to what people mostly in North America can live on, and in the West and Europe can live on, which is fine. Good for them. I mean, by all means, get that cash, son, as they say, or girl. I don't know. So, all right. So let's get to some SEO. Let's see if we have any questions here. DD says, tell us something about the Anti SEO algorithm and what it looks for. Well, they have a number of Anti SEO algorithms. This particular one I'm talking about is Query Deserves Diversity algorithm. It functions on the second sort, on the second shuffle. So they do a first shuffle and they get all that information back based on a semantic paradigm. I'll put it that way. I'm choosing my words carefully. It's not TF-IDF. It's not LSI. Those are all quite old anyway. It's something not related to, but not like those really at all. And also it works based on the principle of multivariable indexing or quantum ranking, which I've been talking about for months. No one else talks about this. No one else even understands this. Everyone else is like, that's not real, because they don't understand it, and they get asked questions, they get flustered, they don't know what to say. So if you don't understand multivariable indexing or quantum ranking, you are not going to understand this anti-SEO algorithm. It's completely AI based. We know how to manipulate it as much as it can be manipulated, but it's killed a lot of SEO, quite frankly. So you have to know all the other ranking factors that are going on. So if you join my group, you will fully understand it. You'll understand it completely. And you'll be able to manipulate it, and you'll be able to manipulate, and that's one half of one bucket. You'll be able to manipulate all the other buckets as well. That would be probably more beneficial for your ranking. Bingo Bongo asks, thoughts on Rand Fishkin? Rand lives not too far from me, just across the water in Seattle. I'm in Victoria, BC. I've met him numerous times. I've gone to his office. I said, hey, Rand, I'm going to be in Seattle. I want to meet. He's like, sure, come on over. So I went on over. He's a lovely fellow, but he doesn't know anything about SEO. He doesn't do any scientific experiments. He doesn't rank any sites. He's been out of that game for quite some time, as far as I know. He's trying to move into other areas. If he's even talking about SEO anymore, he really shouldn't be. It'd be nothing more than guesses. By his own words, he used to have this thing he used to put out years back where he'd predict what would happen in the next year. And I don't even think he does that anymore. And he said, I don't get to talk about SEO. I'm paraphrasing him, but he basically said, I don't get to talk about SEO if what I predict is going to happen next year doesn't. And it doesn't. So I don't think he really talks about that anymore. So no, you can't listen to him. You can't watch things from years ago. This anti SEO algorithm changed everything. It changed at least 80% of most SERPs. It depends on if it's a 7, 9, or a 10, or even a 5 number-based SERP, search engine results page. But it's roughly 80%, and you cannot beat Google's AI. You just can't. You need to work with it. So you got to join an SEO group, or don't do SEO. Go some other way. Go paid traffic. I talked about that last week. Go on to Upwork and try to sell your services there. You know, I've known people who've gone on to Upwork and they started making $500 to $1,500 US a month because they knew how to do Upwork properly and they knew how to sell their services there. So I would look into that. You know, and if you want to do SEO on Upwork, you can, but you really shouldn't ethically do it unless you know what you're doing and you're part of my group. But, you know, let's say you wanted to be, just for sake of example, let's say you want to be a cake maker on Upwork. And they're like, we're not accepting cake makers right now. Well, one, you should really pick a service that people are always going to want, like web design, web development, writing, if you want to compete with those low costs. You know, link building, maybe if you have some kind of impetus to do that, blah, 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 blah. And if they have too many of them, just say you're going to do something else that they want and then switch your profile later. Don't get into SEO unless you have some seed cash to do it. It costs at least $500 a month, either for education on how to do it properly, or to hire programmers and developers at least, or to pay some money to get some, not necessarily links, but pay some money to get some SEO signals that you need. It costs money, period. That's just the way it is. Hamad El Batal asks, Kyle Roof has on-page SEO new course. It's mind-boggling. I learned most of my SEO from SEO Intelligence Agency that was run by Kyle. It was amazing. Let me ask Hamad, how well did you do? What kind of rankings did you have? What kind of niches were you trying to rank in? I'm not gonna put you down. I'm not gonna negative SEO your site anyway. But I'd really like to hear some honest feedback from yourself if you had some success. Because if you did, I suspect you were either in a very easy niche, or you're very lucky. Because I've heard what those guys are doing. I know what those guys are doing, and I'm not at all impressed about it. You're doing resume and CV and career, so you're like a resume service, like a resume and CV writing service for people. What kind of queries? And it wasn't easy, so you didn't have very much success, is what you're saying. He says, I was doing resume and CV and career. I presume, I've seen sites like that. I presume you're offering resume and CV writing services. So you're trying to write a resume builder. Okay, yeah. And it wasn't easy. So you didn't have very much success, you're saying, Hamad. While you're typing back, I'll go to what Ahmed says here. Please suggest good paid ads for Amazon Associates niche. That's a little outside my field of expertise. You might want to check the paid forum that they have for paid traffic. I don't know, there's any place you can get, it depends what you're selling. Snapchat has good paid traffic. Instagram, maybe. Pinterest, it depends on what you're selling. If you're selling to like a female niche or a young niche, I don't know if TikTok has paid traffic. You could try those other platforms. That might work. So Hamad says it was very hard to do a resume builder or online resume builder until he came across Kyle, and that he says that Kyle opened his mind. It was some kind of therapy by shock. Cool. Okay. So are you ranking? Are you doing well with Kyle's theories? I'd love to see your site to see what you're doing there. Maybe I can help out a little bit more about what is going right or going wrong. Like I said, I had to stop making videos because some competitors, cough, cough, those guys were stealing all my ideas. so I don't know, maybe they stole from something. So Hamad says it really worked for him. He went from ranking 500 to page 1. Great. Share your site. I'd love to check this out. I'd love to see how well you're doing. And for what queries, in what language also is a good question. Ranking in English is far, far harder than ranking in other languages. But if you want to share your site, I'd love to see it. So while they're doing that, let me go here. And so let's look here at the formula. So these are the buckets that I'm talking about that you really have to put money into. This is kind of on-page keyword stuff, but there's so much more important here. Keyword density, I'm just saying here, just because everyone understands what it means. It's not keyword density. Keyword density is not the ranking factor, but you do have to worry about certain keywords in certain places in certain ways along certain paradigms. There's also all kind of QDD algorithms here that people don't talk about. QDD aspect, QDD layout, QDD development, QDF, query deserves freshness. QDD is query deserves diversity. So there's other ones you have to figure out here. There's another big, huge secret that we found out here that nobody else knows about that is an atom bomb of SEO, and it really is important. It kind of is related to on-page, but kind of not. The tech stuff. This is a stuff that I can share mostly for free. The tech stuff is very important. You really should look through your Search Console and see what kind of errors in Search Console you have. You don't want to let there be any display errors. You don't want to let there be any speed errors. Anything in Search Console that they're complaining about these days, you really want to take a look at and probably fix and mess with. Even sufficient crawl anomalies. At the very least, you want to take a look in there to make sure that pages that you don't want to have not crawled, you don't want to have not crawled are in there. So you want to make sure, you want to make sure that pages you don't want to have crawled are in there, and vice versa. Vice versa, you want to make sure pages that you do want to have crawled are not in the crawl anomalies, because that can actually point to much bigger ranking problems. Your canonicals are very important as well. Make sure your canonicals are working properly. That can be a huge error, a huge issue. Canonicals can be set by 301s. That's the strongest signal. Rail canonical is the second strongest signal. And links. Also links can point and make a canonical as well. Did you know that in some rare circumstances it's possible for page A to link to page B and page A usurp page B's ranking just because page A links over to page B? That's possible. It's rare, but it's possible. And same thing with canonicals and same thing with 301s. So you really got to be careful about that. Really have to watch that, make sure that's working properly. So Hamad claims to be ranking in English, Spanish, and Arabic and for on page 1 in top 5. Great, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see this, Hamad. Please share your site. I'd love to see what's going on there. Maybe, who knows, I can show you some stuff that is hurting you or holding you back, so you're not just top 5, so you're number 1. We go for number 1 in our group, in my group. And I'm not saying that you're fibbing or embellishing at all, but until I see it, I don't know if I'm going to really believe it. Jonathan says, "Hey Josh, hey, how you doing? Yes, it's been a long time." He says he's using less tools and more Search Console now. Yep, yeah, I definitely would use Search Console more. It's interesting. Google is like an abusive lover. Google both takes and gives, right? So they take away all the more and more kind of traditional SEO, kind of on-page stuff and links and stuff you can do. But then they give you Search Console, which is telling you, okay, fix these speed errors, fix these speed issues. You definitely have to fix everything you find in Search Console. So that's my big tip, my big free tip for the day, which will help hundreds of SEOs out there and improve rankings tremendously. And when I say improve rankings, I don't necessarily mean that it's just going to boost rankings, although it'll definitely do that. But it'll also make you rank for more, and it'll make you rank more consistently. Again, Google has implemented, it's not just ranking higher. You want to rank higher more. You want to rank consistently. You want to, in the quantum ranking, in the Schrodinger's ranking, you really need to improve the signals across the board on all of these. Sorry. You need to increase the speed across the board, increase the signals across the board on all of these buckets. And that's the way that you get rankings. If you're just doing this one, you're not going to rank. If you're just doing this one, you're not going to rank. If you're just doing this one, you're not going to rank. You need to increase the signal across the board on all of these different buckets. Now, sadly, I can't share them all. A lot of this is proprietary scientific experiments that we've done that are from a private group only. So, I'm trying to do the best of helping people out and telling the truth out there and helping people understand whether they should be an SEO or not, without also giving away for free the material that my group pays for. So I'm walking this tightrope of trying to help some people on one end and not cut off my nose to spite my face. Is that the metaphor? I think it is. On the other end, like cutting it off with this big massive chainsaw and my boomstick. So for those of you who've seen the movie, so that is another thing that it does. So I want to see if Hamad here has shared his site yet, because until he does, I don't actually think that is true. I have my doubts, and if he does, I'd like to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll take my words back and say that those people are wonderful. But until Hamad shares the site, we'll have to see. I bet you I would fully believe you're ranking better in Spanish and Arabic, because it's much easier to rank in other languages. Jonathan says the speed checker is interesting. Yes. And he says, do you find the page speed insights is wrong and GTA matrix is better for site speed? That's a great question, Jonathan. So John Mueller recently did a conference, and he said that you can use page speed that plugs right into Search Console. I would use that one just to be absolutely sure, but it does make mistakes. I've sent the mistakes to John Mueller, had him change them. But you can use also webspeedtest.org, or you can use GTA matrix. It really has to do a lot to do with the initial server settings, the initial time it takes for all your information to download, and then it takes then CPU processing is important, and then the time to rendering is important, and those two are related. So there's three important things when it comes to speed: the time it takes to download all your assets, the time it takes to process your assets, and how much you actually push the processor to do that. That actually is important as well. And then the time it takes to have full DOM loaded and screen is usable. So I would strongly recommend that you get on that and do that kind of stuff. So let's see what else we could talk about. Go ahead and ask questions on the top right-hand side. If you have sites that you want me to take a look at, I can take a look at them. Hamad, I'd love to take a look at your site to see if it is as good as you say. DD asks, can I talk about what quantum ranking is? Sure, I can do that. So let me take out my handy dandy whiteboard here. The handy dandy board of white. Okay, so as I mentioned, so everyone thinks of ranking in the old sense of a database with files in it, and this is the rankings. That's not how it works anymore. Google has a database of all of our pages, and they push that out into the first sort. The first sort is the top. It used to be 1,000 shards. They used to call it shards, the shards collection, the pieces of the pages that they're going to show in the search results page. Now it used to be 1,000. Now it could be anywhere from 300 to 500. They have a varying algorithm that depends on how important it is and how much information they have for it. That's the first sort. This is based on a semantic paradigm that is not LSI and is not TF-IDF. It's not those things, so that means Cora is out. That means POP is out. That means, as far as I understand it, Kyle's on-page course is out. It's none of those things. It is not the Google Natural Language Processor. It's not that. I can prove that to you if you want. It's not the Google Natural Language Processor. It's none of those things. My science has proven it is none of those things, and it is something else entirely. When I say proven, I mean proven conclusively. And if you don't understand this portion of it, if you don't understand this portion of the first search you got back, the way it used to work in like, 2009, and then around 2013 is when this stopped, when they made Hummingbird. They started moving things away from this. Now it moves to the second sort, and this is also called the dance, and has for some time. And that's when they rearrange all this, and then they rearrange how it looks, and then they put in the stuff and blah, 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 blah. The second sort is where query deserves diversity happens, where queries deserves freshness happens, when personalization happens, when geolocation happens, when all the anti SEO algorithm happens, when the multivariable indexing happens. It's not just one index, it's many indexes. That goes on to infinity, theoretically. So they have multiples. They have multiple indices. It's not an index. There are X indices, plural, and these will change at random, and they will not let you understand how it's working or get a grip or a hold on them. I got a comment back from one guy. He said, well, if you're doing reverse testing, then you know it's a ranking factor. No, you don't. No, that doesn't always work, and it doesn't work, period. When these are jostling around completely and jumping around, you never know if it's a ranking factor or not. And that's what Google is doing. If you don't know how to turn off the multivariable indexing, I do, because I was lucky enough around the Florida update. It really got bad during the Florida update in March of, that's too big. Pen, too big, pen. There we go. It really got bad in March of 2019. Oh, I could use the number. 04 of 19, around Florida, is when this really got bad. And then they've just been cranking it up from there. I just happened to notice it because I was doing some interesting experiments at that time. It is quite difficult to know. So when I say quantum ranking, I mean that you might be ranking for 25% of the indices, but that's it. You might have spot number 5 25% of the time, but that's not a lot of traffic. So your impressions are going to be like blah, blah, blah. Your rank is going to be blah, blah, blah. Instead of your impressions being blah, 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 because you're not ranking 25% of the time, you're ranking, say, 90% of the time. So it's not just, everyone is concerned with spot number, getting to number 1. It's not about just number 1. You got to be at number 1 100% of the time. That's what we go for. That's what you want. And that's what you need to have consistent signal across all of these buckets. If you don't have a consistent signal across all of these buckets, including local, if you're trying to do that, then you're not going to rank at number 1, and you're not going to rank 100% of the time, whatever rank you can get. You'll be lucky if you get number 8 50% of the time, which you can imagine if it's only showing your site 50% of the time, then that's half the traffic you would have got if you're ranking 100% of the time. And so this is the Anti SEO algorithm works on a number of different AI-based algorithms. And so that's what we're pushing for. That's what we get in the group. That's what we're aiming for anyway. We know exactly what equals this. We know it's X plus Y plus Z equals 100% of the time ranking to improve that signal. We know what X, Y, and Z are. They're in this bucket list. They're standard things we do in our group. But that's what I mean by quantum ranking, or the multivariable indexing. I say quantum ranking because it's like Schrodinger's cat. It's like, is it alive or dead? Is it ranked there or not? It doesn't. Google doesn't have one index anymore. They have multiple indices. They have multiple indexes. They have multiple lists of pages. They have multiple databases of pages. They have one. Well, they probably have multiple hard databases that's backed up all over the places. So they have multiple hard databases that are backed up all over the place, and multiple software indices that are always going with each other, competing with each other, checking each other, communicating with each other. This algorithm talks to this algorithm talks to this algorithm, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. So Google can stay on top of everything that's new and what's going on. And you might think you know what X and Y and Z are, but you don't. It's Google's very smart about how they set things up to try to screw up SEOs. And if you do not understand this, you are not going to rank. You have a 20% chance of just accidentally making it. And then that's at best. That's not including that you have a 20% chance of getting past. Like if I made this is like the Anti SEO Bucket right here. It's not really, you can classify it by itself. I really don't classify it by itself. But let's say you had a check mark here. Let's say you're like, okay, Josh, I've solved that. Great. Now you have a 20% chance of ranking. Never mind this and 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 this. So you actually have a less than 20% chance of ranking if you don't have the proper signals here and 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 here, if you want to do local. So I mean, what is that? Like divide by 10. You have like a 2 to 3% chance of ranking just by accident. All things being equal. If you don't have a lot of competition, well then that goes up. If you're in some other language, that goes up. If you have a lot of competition, which you probably do, any niche that makes money now has a lot of competition. You've missed the internet gold rush. Any niche that makes money has a lot of competition. And competition in the third world that can spend less money than the first world and exist on less for longer than the first world. And they're very smart people over there. Some of them are very well educated. So that's who you're going up against. You're going up against 1 billion people in India who are well educated, can live on pennies a day, and can supplement that ranking by ranking it in Hindi or Punjabi, whatever it is, and then also supplementing their money for that to rank it also in English, just like Hamad was doing there. He's doing Spanish and Arabic. I'm not surprised at all. Even if Hamad is not being completely upfront, and again, Hamad, I don't know who you are. I'm not saying you're lying, but let's just say I have to admit I'm a little doubtful. But even if he was exaggerating a bit, the English rankings, I fully believe he could be ranking well in Spanish and Arabic because it's so much easier in the other languages. But for English, you have maybe a 2 to 3% chance of accidentally doing the SEO. If you listen to Chase Reiner, that's your chances. If you listen to Kyle, Ted, and Clint, those are your chances. Well, maybe increased a bit, maybe 5 to 10%. I don't know if you like those odds. I don't. I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars for 6 months to have a 5 to 10% chance of ranking. I'd rather spend a known cost, $300 a month for my group, to have at least at worst a 60% chance of ranking. I think that's better. You tell me which math you want. Let's see here. Jonathan says he 100% agree. Good. Raul says, finally. I don't know what finally is. Josh, great to see you back to it. SEO is missing you. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you like the show. Raul asks, next year will be the year voice search really takes off. How this relate to that? That's a great question, actually, Raul. And the answer is actually voice search has already taken off, and you're already accounting for it. Voice search is just changing the search queries. That's all. So there's two. Let me go to my whiteboard here. So some of the algorithms that they're doing here. Is let me show you where they show up. Josh, do you know where they show up? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. So RankBrain shows up here. Hummingbird shows up here. As far as I know. If you ask Google, they disagree. They disagree. I just had a hand. But RankBrain and Hummingbird show up over here. RankBrain also shows up over here. And this is where also BERT comes in. BERT is another. These are both more like RankBrain Plus. They double dip into RankBrain. As more of this QDD anti-algorithm, so is the anti-algorithm thing, is a QDD. And so what happens, let's say, best, I search best mattress top. Like the silicone things you can put on top of your mattress. Let's say I want to buy one online. So I type in best mattress topper. So traditionally, the query would take, this would be the most important keyword. This would be most important. This would be second important. This would be third important. All BERT does is through a process of bidirectional retracking, I'm going to call it, they figure out that, oh, they don't really actually want to, they're not actually mostly interested in this string, whatever this means. Because remember, Google AI does not understand English. It does not understand languages. It understands the signals it sent, and the signals it sent are X, Y, and Z. It sent X, Y, and Z signals. It machine learns on those signals and spits out, whatever, alpha. It does not understand what this phrase best mattress topper means. They're moving in that direction, but they're nowhere near to Terminator fully understanding what it means to cry. Like they're nowhere near that. No one is anywhere near that, because human beings still don't understand how human cognition works, because human beings are incredibly stupid at this point in history. They're very smart. They're very unwise at this point of history. Just look at our pollution if you want to see, if you want proof of that claim. Some cultures more than others, of course. So all that BERT does is through this bidirectional retracking is it goes, no, they really don't want, we can tell by one of these signals, X, Y, or Z, or some combination of them. The machine learning algorithm goes, oh, when they type in best mattress topper, they don't want all the best pages we found that just have, that are about something that is quote unquote best. They want these more. They're looking for this is what they're looking for. They want this more. And so it switches around the weights to have this phrase be the more important keywords in the query. So this is now what's happening with web search. So if they're like, Google, tell me the best mattress topper, they're going to parse out some of these words and in terms of importance, not in terms of just removing them and like stop words. They're going to parse them out in terms of importance, because at the end of the day, they don't know what the stop words are in all languages at all times. So RankBrain is still working on these phrases, but when you add BERT into the mix, it's just going, oh, these are the words here that are more important. They're actually looking for mattress topper based on some signals our machine learning got in and tells us with a certain level of confidence that actually they're looking for these ones and not whatever this word means. So we're going to rank these a little higher and these a little lower. That's how that's going to work. So all you got to do to be ready for voice search is just do your keyword research. See what people are searching. See the exact search, the exact query that they're doing. And then there's some on-page stuff you need to do. What is that? You need to join the group. But you do need to do your keyword research. And then we've done all kinds of, we've scientifically studied all levels of this equation, including with the new BERT crap. It's just another QDD. I'm the QDD master. No one understands the Query Deserves Diversity set of algorithms that work on this second sort better than me. I will go out on a limb to say. No one even talks about it, really. They barely understand it. They're all testing their algorithms like it's all this. But I have already said too much. I have already given them hints enough that could improve what they were doing if they listened and had half an idea. So that's so in terms of the voice search, this is just fluff that the white hats and SMX talk about because they have nothing else to talk about because they have no idea what they're talking about. Voice search has already changed search. They've already got the algorithms in place to deal with the voice search. You just have to do your keyword research to find the what people are searching for, whether they're talking it in or typing it in. It doesn't matter at all. And you need to understand the first sort and the second sort. You need to understand the semantic paradigm of the first sort and how that semantic paradigm doubles into the second sort and is reused in the second sort with other machine learning algorithms that are talking back and forth to it that allow you to prioritize some content in something I call QDD aspect. Ever hear that before? Anyone else ever talk about that or even understand it? No. It could be, but it could be all the difference. It could be the difference between page 2 and page 1. It could be the difference between spot 10 and spot number 1. And it could be the difference of getting more click-through rate. So it's a big deal, right? And so I was able to scientifically test it. I have the scientifically proven best way to manipulate it. No one else even understands it. They don't even know that to go for it, right? It's as if they were doing local SEO and they didn't know what the map pack was. It's that big of a deal. So yeah, SEO isn't easy. It's quite difficult. And so if you're not ready to roll your sleeves up and do something as intellectually difficult as at least HTML and CSS or playing chess at a high level, then you're not ready to do SEO. I really recommend getting a job somewhere else. No shame, no dishonor. I'm here to tell you, the SEO gold rush is over. The time you could make easy money online is long gone, unless you're a good-looking woman willing to do crazy things with your body, or man, I suppose. You know, whatever it is. Porn always makes money, right? If you could go that route. I know very little about that route of actually how you would do that, but and I'm assuming that market is very saturated as well. But there's a lot of money in it. So even if it's got a 3 billion people doing it, there's 6 billion people who want it. So you probably still have a way to fit in, cough, cough, into the industry if you want. If you want to work from home, and I get it. I work from home. This is my office in my home. I hate driving. I hate commuting. I hate working for other people. Could you imagine a man with my ego working for somebody else? No, it doesn't go well, let me tell you. I have to be the boss, or given very free reign. And so I've had very few bosses in my life who understood that. It was like, this is how I use this guy. Just let him go. Just okay, Josh, just go do it. And then that was comfortable for a while. But that was in a town I didn't want to stay in, Winnipeg, which is frozen. It's frozen. It's freezing, Winnipeg. Have you ever lived there? I don't know. Okay. So what other questions do people have? Dan the man says, Chase Reiner hitting porn, as I know. Yes, he did tell me that he was getting into the porn industry. More power to him, I guess. I don't want to come across his videos by accident. That would be terrible. Hey, Clay. He says, good to see you back. Is that a link juice you're sipping on? Yes. This is my patented link juice. Glad to see you, brother. If you need any high-level web design, contact this guy who's in my chat right now, Clay Jackson. I don't know if he's taking clients right now, but he's a good buddy of mine. He lives just down the street. Great designer. Really fair prices, but worth every penny. If you need web design, contact Clay. He's a great guy. Natural Solution says, how important are your H tags now? See, that's a great question. I can't give a straight answer because there is no straight answer anymore. It depends on, it's on page, it's just not on page anymore. That's part of what the Anti SEO algorithm did. It depends on what paradigm you're going for. It depends on where you are on some of these other buckets. If you're not ready on some of the other buckets, then they are or not important. Like it's both alive and dead. It's both Schrodinger's cat. So it depends on some other factors that you're not giving me. And so that's how I know that Kyle and those guys have no idea what they're talking about. Because they're like, yes, of course, you should put it in your H tags. Nope, wrong in some scenarios. In some scenarios, right. In some scenarios, wrong. Sorry, I can't give you a straighter answer than that. Join the group and you'll understand. DD asks, do you think Google Chrome spying on users is really 90% of rankings now? That's interesting. No, it's not 90% of rankings. It's really hard to, that's another one that's really hard to quantify, like the H tag question. It depends on certain paradigms. Yes, Google Chrome spies on you. I discovered that 2 years ago. And it's not just Google Chrome. They have multiple ways of spying on traffic and getting traffic information. So I will tell you, traffic information is definitely used. It's not a ranking factor. It's a signal in numerous ranking factors. It's important to have and to do. But do not get a program. I can tell you right now, Do not get a computer program that will fake traffic. It doesn't work and it could penalize you. The last time I tried using Mechanical Turk for traffic for a test, I de-indexed the site. I accidentally negative SEO to myself. So don't do that. Don't use Mechanical Turk. But I can't say it's 90% of rankings. I can definitely say it's very important to rankings. North of 50 for sure. For sure. Raul says, thank you, Josh. I said finally because I am in Australia and it's hard for me to catch you live. As a matter of fact, I'm at my job. I work in an agency doing an SEO audit. Cool. Awesome, man. Well, if you have any questions about your SEO audit, by all means ask. I'm glad you're able to join. Natural Solutions said, and anyone else has a site you want me to take a look at? I'll be on here for how long? I've been doing this for 15 minutes. I'll be here for another 10 minutes or so, unless the questions die down. If you want me to take a look at your site, just go ahead and put it in the chat. I'd love to take a look at it. Come on, I still have that offer for you to put it in here. I want to take a look at it. I noticed you're not. Maybe you emailed me separately to show me. Nope. I'd still like to take a look to see if it's actually truly as good as you say. But based on what I answered for Didi's question about H tags, Natural Solutions questions about H tags, you should start to realize that it's not. Okay. In fact, I have my doubts that Kyle has updated that course since he first did it 3 or 4 years ago when his science was up to date. His science, I suspect, is no longer up to date. But that's why I want to see the site to see maybe if I'm wrong. Natural Solution says, based on your last video, I did some thinking and made some changes on my site, leaped 3 pages. Great. I'm happy to hear it. What did you change? I'm just curious what I said that sparked that. What you manipulated. I'd be very curious to know what you did there. See if I can actually take any credit for it. But Dan the Man says, on page is super important. Yes. I thought that was 80%. No. So, you can rank without doing any on page at all in some multivariable indices and in other multivariable indices in some SERPs and some niches. It's super important to do. It's not just, it's not a yes or no question anymore. So that's the kind of funny thing about quantum ranking. It's like quantum physics. You've ever tried to read quantum physics? It hurts the brain. It's like, well, yes, it's both alive and dead simultaneously. Like, what do you mean it's alive and dead simultaneously? A cat is either alive or dead. But it really is this quantum flux in ranking that, if this, then maybe, but if that, then no. So and that's how the anti-algorithm works, and the anti-SEO algorithm works. So yes, there's some factors in on-page you can avoid that you need to do, for sure. But not everything that people talk about, and they really have no idea what it is, and across the industry, they're completely wrong and varied what it is. And there's other things on on-page that in some cases you would do, yes, in some cases you would not do. And it's a life or death decision. It's a mission critical, yes, you will rank, or sorry, no, you will not. And so it's really tough. It's really tough, guys. Like, you got to be so careful, and it's quite difficult. Okay, so Dan the Man says, thoughts on Page Optimizer Pro. So this happened again last week. Someone asked me about Cora last week. Again, I don't like saying this so bluntly because it hurts feelings, and I'm trying not to get into another screaming match with those guys. But no, I do not recommend Page Optimizer Pro. The last time I looked at it, and my students have looked at it, it did not take into account these factors here. Let me show you again. It did not take into account it does not take into account any of these factors. It doesn't take into account this big secret we discovered for on page. It doesn't take into account QDD aspect, QDD layout. It doesn't do keyword density properly. It's actually not keyword density. I just use that word there because I don't want to tell you what it really is. And it does not take into account the second sort dance of QDD, QDF. It doesn't take into account personalization, geolocation. Well, actually, they do take that into account. I'll give them that credit. It doesn't take into account BERT. It doesn't take into account this anti SEO algorithm. It does not take into account the multivariable indexing. They don't even know what this is or means. So no, sadly, I cannot recommend it. Yeah, sadly, I just can't. So no, I don't recommend it. And that pisses them off when I say that, but that's just the way it is. Chris Palmer, Natural Solutions asks, is optimizing for the answer of the query the way to go now? That's another really good question. So that's kind of a white hat SEO-ism. What is the query intent? Optimize for the answer. In general, in a short way, yes. I mean, yes, that's better than not optimizing to answer the question. But that's not going to get you anywhere. If you just follow... See, here's the thing. Google and the people at SMX don't give two shits if you rank. They have more sites than they know what to do with. They have more pages than they know what to do with. And so, and they're not very ethical people. And so they are... You ever notice how tight-knit a community gets? They need to get very tight-knit when they need to clap each other on the back and prove that they're okay. The more tight-knit a community, usually the more ethically nuanced, I'll say they are, varied and quite possibly unethical. And it's the same thing with this white hat SMX group and the Google fanboy groups. They're just not very ethical people, quite frankly. And so when they give the SEO advice to say, if you just answer the question of the query, that's what you should do. That's like saying you need to have nutrition to live. That's how vague that is. That's how helpful a suggestion it is. It's not wrong. They're not lying. It's not incorrect, but it's so unhelpful that it's unethical. It's like, imagine you had a child, and let's say they grew up to 18 years old like that. And they said, okay, well, what do I do? You need to have nutrition, young Barry. And they go, the name is Barry. They look like Barry Schwartz, just to put it that way. So, hey, Barry, you need to get nutrition. See ya, and you leave. And they're like, okay, what's nutrition? Where do I get it? Is this nutrition? They try to start eating, that does not help them. It's not lying, though, and you're not wrong, but it doesn't help. But it's not enough for them to survive. That is the exact same kind of great suggestions that when they say you need to optimize for the answer, you need to answer the question. Again, it's not lying and it's not untrue, but it's not going to help you rank. You will never succeed. That's not enough information. You have a 2% chance of succeeding if that's the case, roughly 2 to 3% chance in my estimation with my science that I've done. And you will only succeed if maybe that gives you an extra 1% chance because it was kind of the point in the kind of generally good direction. But it's nowhere near enough for you actually to succeed. So I really get pissed off when people say that because it's like it's not helping the world, it's not helping SEO, it's not helping anybody. It's just making somebody think that they're ethical when they're not, and it really is kind of sad. You need more specific advice and like specific suggestions I've given on the show, and a host of a bazillion specific suggestions I would give if you're actually one of my students in my program. Chris says, Josh, I would love your insight on Zeno's Link Sleuth. Have you used it? No, I haven't used it. I noticed you also mentioned something about Screaming Frog, and then I don't know why you retracted that message, but I don't know what Zeno's Link Sleuth does, if it's close to Screaming Frog. I like using Screaming Frog for a 10,000 foot view of a site really quickly. I will sometimes break out Screaming Frog in SEO audits. But any of these SEO measurement tools are completely useless if you don't know the scientific ranking factors. I can only use these tools accurately and correctly and well because I know with scientific certainty what the ranking factors are. And so now I can use the tool to measure what I know is important. That is far, far different than using the tool to what the tool creators think they guess is SEO important, and they have no idea, and they're wildly off. And Google makes changes every week to make them more and more off. That's Google's job, to make the SEO industry die. Google is trying to kill the SEO industry. Do not doubt that for a second. And also, for sadly, I would have to suggest, if you're not in my group, your guesses, your wild guesses, based on other people's wild guesses as to what ranking factors are or how they're working, not even understanding the paradigm that they're working in, the first and second sort, the multivariable indexing, the quantum ranking. So it's like someone saying that ether is part of physics when in this day and age of quantum physics. They don't even understand the paradigm of what people are talking about, never have done any experiments in said paradigm to come up with any experimental results that points a light and sheds some light on some bits of the grand unified theory of the way the physics works. The way we've done experiments systematically programmed in such a way to shed light in a systematic fashion to get the grand unified theory of how the SEO ranking factors are working now. And that grand unified theory is first sort, second sort, multivariable indexing, and QDD, plus the semantic paradigm, the original semantic paradigm. So I have the grand unified theory of ranking, and it's based on science, not guesses. So when I use a tool to look at what this stuff is, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying you have to have done that. I mean, maybe you have, good for you. But I doubt it, but not a lot of people have. But it used to be that a lot of black hats would email me and they're like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've tested this, tested that. They don't email me anymore. And it's not because I'm still not blah, blah, blah about Google. I fear that they're either out of business or they don't know what's going on with SEO anymore, and Google has successfully knocked out some of those higher level black hats who were doing rankings in the porn and the payday loans and the herbal Viagra and all those niches, some of which I've worked in, some of which I used to know people who worked in. Who knows? Maybe they're all gone. Maybe they've gone the way of the dodo. I'm not really sure. They don't email me anymore, or maybe they just don't like me. That could be possible. Some people don't like me. That's fine. So I know nothing about it. And the last thing I'll say about Zeno's link sleuth is links are such a small part of the algorithm. Don't go buy links. Don't go get links. You have no idea how to do it right. And it's so unimportant, actually, in the algorithm. You'll probably do it completely wrong. And it'll either have little value or it'll be dangerous for you. But don't disavow links either. Disavowing links is not going to help you either. Natural Solution says, I removed some of the keyword phrases from H1 tags. I stopped listening to pop. Yeah, I would not listen to pop. I don't know if it was a good idea to remove those keyword phrases from H1 tags, but you tell me if you went up or down from doing that and how consistent it was. Chris Palmer says, Screaming Frog or Xenos and why? I haven't tried Xenos, so I don't really know. I like Screaming Frog. Jonathan says, I don't like it. Pop is super hard work to look at. I just use Ahrefs in Search Console. Yeah, so, I mean, I take your point there, Jonathan, and I don't mean to call you out in any way. Search Console is great, and Ahrefs is a very powerful link tool. However, as I just said, links are such a small part of the algorithm. But there's something there. There's not nothing. And Search Console is really, really good. So you're ahead of the game already. But please don't take this the wrong way. But if you're having trouble using pop, like SEO is tough, like really difficult. When you look at my scientific experiments, like my students' eyes bleed sometimes. And so if you think pop is hard to understand, really understanding the algorithm at the grand unified theory level, it's getting pretty difficult. So if you're having success, great, good for you. But I just want to throw that out there and say, and I'm saying you can do it. Pull up your socks and get on, get the Visine ready and look at tougher data. Don't be afraid. Here's what I'm trying to say for everybody. Don't be afraid to look at tougher SEO data and tougher SEO experiments and to try to think through tougher SEO problems of how Google's making it really complicated. How this AI talks to this AI, talks to this AI, but not if this AI says something about this AI and this AI says something about this AI first. Like, it's starting to get that level of complex. So if maybe that logical thinking is easier for you, maybe you just don't like the pop user interface. I don't know, but I'm just trying to say to people out there, because I'm trying to save people money. I'm trying to be honest to people. I'm trying to save you money. I'm trying to save you time and trying to save you heartache. What I don't want, and what I've got a lot of emails of people are like, great, I just quit my job, but I'm going to do SEO now, and I've got 3 months to make money, or my wife's going to divorce me. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, now I feel like this is my responsibility. I'm like, oh my God, okay, what kind of programming do you know? None. Do you know web development? No. Do you know web design? No. I'm getting more and more nervous for this poor person who's maybe going to get divorced. Don't email me with that. I have a conscience. I'm a nice guy. I have empathy. I feel sorry for people who email me. Please don't email me with stuff like that, because I will literally be up at night worrying about Joe Schmo who emailed me. Oh no, there's marriage. That's why you've driven me to drinking. Damn you. So don't be afraid to look at the tough stuff. Jonathan said, Dan the Man says, Google just wants to sell ads. You're right. You're absolutely right. That is Google's cash cow. With all of the other products they've made, still, I think, north of 95% of their revenue, their massive revenue that has surpassed oil companies. The richest corporations in the world are Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. They're also rich because they buy and sell data. Data, our personal data, our information, our personal information is pound for pound more expensive than gold, more expensive than oil. It is the richest commodity in the world. It's the most expensive commodity in the world to buy and sell, and those corporations far outstrip oil companies at this point. And that's where all Google's revenue comes from, to be in that FANG. The vast majority of it. Forget Android, forget all the other crap they do. It comes from the ads on the search results page. And a huge reckoning is coming. As soon as the gray hairs get out of office and young people get in and they start thinking along Elizabeth Warren's lines and start regulating Google, and they're patriots and they're not willing to take a handout from Google, Google's going to be crushed and that industry will be decimated. Raul Reyes says, does one of the secrets have something to do with JSON LD? Nope. Does the secret group work defining entities with LD? Nope. That is a tiny, tiny little portion of a tiny, tiny little portion. Chris Palmer says, Josh, how many tests does your group produce on a monthly basis? Would you be willing to share a recent test, not the outcome? Curious what plane the group is on. Well, that's a good question. It depends. This is a bad month because I'm taking 2 weeks off for Christmas. I share 2 or 3 tests a week, roughly. I've been testing QDD Aspect. I've been testing better ways of triggering it, new ways of triggering it. Let me see here. I'm not sharing my screen right at the moment. No, okay. So let me go in here to the test results. So Aspect test, your money or your life test, a secret little test. That has to do with silos. I did a silo test. Silos are wrong and bad. Every way that people tell you to do silos are wrong and bad. I found a much better way that produces results like, here, you can't really read anything. Okay, here, I'll share this. Look at this little secret here. See this? that was the test. So that was a proper way of doing a certain kind of maneuver. What else here? Title rewriting, new algorithms that Google's put out, another aspect test, head term tests, a failed test, failed aspect test, semantic paradigm testing that I've been talking about. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. There's a lot. There's a lot of them. So that's kind of what's going on there. Stuart says, no, I gotta crunch it. Excuse me. Stuart says, search intent seems to be taking over from traditional SEO. It did years ago, man. It's been important for a long time. And he says, I'm getting excellent results using this method over keyword chasing. Yeah, it's really important. Search intent is super important. It might be one of those buckets. I don't call it search intent. I call it by its proper scientific name of what actually is the ranking factor there you need to manipulate, either in a black hat way or in a white hat way, the way you're doing it. I prefer the white hat way because white hat is a more evergreen, organic, long-term strategy, but we can do it a black hat way too. Dan the Man says, people's argument is how did they rank lorem ipsum if they don't know what they're doing, the pop owner. He did because it was a super easy industry, and that was years ago, dude. I don't know if it's still ranking, but that was years ago, and it's a super easy industry, super easy niche to rank in. Stuart Peters says, I'm getting excellent results using this method over keyword chasing. And it's only one industry, by the way, Dan the Man. You know, like just because someone gets lucky in a niche, even if it's semi-difficult, doesn't mean they know how to rank across the board. Doesn't mean they're a good SEO consultant. It doesn't mean they can teach people how to do SEO across the board in all the different multivariable indices. So they got lucky in one index. Good for him. Let's see if he's still there. It was Rhinoplasty Plano, Texas is what it was. So let's share my screen and we can take a look together here. So I suspect this is one of theirs, one of somebody's. Obviously, this is not a doctor who made this site. I don't see Kyle's site's not here. Not the old one that he had anyway. I don't see it. I don't believe it is. It wasn't rhinoplasty. It was something different. So he's not in the map pack as far as I know. And so I don't see his site here unless he has a new one. This Google Sites is obviously probably not a doctor. Let's just take a look here. Let's click cached, open the link in new tab. Oh, this does look like one he had done previously. This looks like the one he had. Maybe this is his, I'm not sure. So, yeah, okay. Sure. Yeah, so like I said, this is not a very tough niche to rank in. I don't know if this is his or not, but it's definitely not the old site. And if I turn on SERPworks here, what you need to rank in this niche is not that difficult. And he's got a very lucky kind of scenario. In two ways. It's kind of, I don't know about you, but a non-branded domain name, I don't know how long that would last in a real search environment. Maybe it would. Maybe people don't care. Maybe they want to just get their nose job. They don't care if it's a chintzy-looking site on Google's sites.google.com. But they might want, Dr. Yaker instead. They might want Dr. Wilcox instead, and that might be some kind of a situation where these guys can't go for something a little bit more Google.com like that. You can see this. Yeah, good. And I see a lot of other things in this area. I'm looking at this. I see a lot of other things here that tell me why it is that page is ranking well, and it's a little bit fake, quite frankly. I'm not diminishing the effort it would take to get this here with a bunch of other people competing, but I'm not sure how this would work in a real search environment. Maybe fine, and I'm not sure how well. Some other things would work in a real search environment. He has a bunch of traffic, search intent, coming here, doing certain stuff because it's a fake site and people keep looking at it and keep clicking on it and keep doing stuff. And Plano is a pretty small town. It's supposed to have 30 searches a month, right? So with a keyword that's supposed to have 30 searches a month, I guarantee that he has 30 searches per month of users on a Facebook forum just clicking on this just to see what he did and trying to reverse engineer what he did, thinking that there's some crazy magic in here, when there's not necessarily any crazy magic in here at all. He's probably ranking in spite of a lot of mistakes I see in here. So even if it was true that, a blind pig can find a worm sometimes, or whatever that is, whatever the metaphor is, doesn't mean you should try to repeat, doesn't mean you should blind yourself, and doesn't mean you should try to repeat the process of the blind pig. So, but not to diminish, it's not nothing to get that there either. So I'm saying I'm like 20% impressed. I wouldn't be 100% impressed, and I necessarily wouldn't repeat what they did anyway. So it's not that impressive, quite frankly. Try to rank in a your money or your life query, which I'm doing. I'm now number 8 in a your money, your life main query. Try doing that. See how easy that is. But that's for my students to know. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. Stuart says he's getting excellent results using the search intent. Yes. Yeah. Keyword chasing. Yeah. I mean, there's importance back and forth for both. Dan the Man says, is there a bunch of info out there for free about QDD, etc.? No, there's not. Sorry, Dan. I know people love free SEO groups. Free SEO groups is like Tinder, I suppose. I'm married. I'm not on Tinder. I have no idea. But from what my single friends tell me is that it's not great and it's something they want to get off of. Or maybe it's like Instagram or like Facebook. Free, which a lot of these are on Facebook. Free SEO groups are like that. They're not good for you. Well, they're like the Pepsi I just put in here. It's not good for you, but you can't get off it. It's not giving you the nutrition you think it is. Never mind whatever booze I put in here too. It's not going to help you succeed. You have about a 2% chance of succeeding. And so I would not recommend free SEO groups. Free SEO groups is dead. The days where you could get by on free SEO groups is dead. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Fine, quit. Don't join my group. Go do something else on Upwork. But I'm just here to tell you, the days are limited. You should definitely have an exit plan. You should definitely have a backup strategy plan, because that's not going to work. And quite frankly, the information shouldn't be for free. I spent a lot of time and money getting that information for my students, and they pay me to have that information. The information shouldn't be for free. There's this kind of really like freeloader kind of, and hey, everybody does it. I'm not saying you're a freeloader, but there's this kind of freeloader mentality these days with a lot of free information out on YouTube. But the quality of that information, varies. In some niches, the information never should have been charged for to begin with. So good for that to be free. But in this nuanced, technical, difficult, important, rich niche, I deserve to make a living. I deserve to have an opinion. I deserve to make a living. I spend a lot of time and money to get that information. And that information, as you know, information now is more lucrative than oil and gold. I mined it. The sweat off my brow. I pickaxed it out of the ground through my science, and I found it out. And I have every right to charge for it. The notion that all information should be for free. I'm going to suggest this. This is my opinion, but I hope it helps you. I'm going to suggest that the notion that all information should be for free, like even just the gut instinct that you don't even realize you're doing, the gut instinct that we have in our day and age now, that all information should be for free, is not necessarily a good argument. I agree, some information should be for free, but everyone has every right to charge for the information if they want to. And it took me a lot of time and money to get it. And so I try to give as much for free out here as I can. I try and guide people the right way to go. But if you don't have, some seed money per month to get a good SEO education, I have my doubts as to whether you'll succeed long-term in the future. And you're free to disagree. People usually get really pissed off when I say that, because it's going against their inclinations and things like that. And I fully understand. Justin says, I thought Pop was pretty good. Nope. Go to bit.ly/SEO proof. And if he has a folder like that, tell me, because I've never seen it. Go to bit.ly/SEO proof. That is non-Pop SEO, which is much better than Pop SEO. Jonathan says, no, I understand Pop, but when I did what they said, it made no difference, and the interface is shit. Yes. A lot of people try Pop, and I would say the vast majority of them don't get any benefit out of it. And so that's just the way it is. Jonathan says, I test more link building, and it works for me. Yeah, I'm not saying link building doesn't work. I'm saying there's a better way to do it and a worse way and a dangerous way to do it. So good luck. I hope you don't get hit by the Google link gods. But you already know that. Stuart, you already know the risk you're taking. Stuart Peter says, are rich snippets a bad thing, seeing as they are killing CTR? Well, if they kill CTR, that's a bad thing, yeah. I don't know that they're actually killing CTR. I need to see the data on that, but Natural Solution says, how important is getting a consistent flow of traffic, not from SERPs? That could be important. It really depends on some factors there. So, yeah, you should definitely email me or join my group. We have a whole bunch of information there for you. Google will buy or develop mind control options over politicians before they allow regulation. Oh, my lights just flickered there. Google will buy or develop mind control options over politicians before they allow regulation. Yes. Yes. Jonathan says they might have already. They do. It's called Google Search. It's Pavlovian, right? It reinforces, right? Every time you go to Google, you get the information you want, you get a little dopamine hit. That's called conditioning, right? They have already done that. Nudge, nudge. Chris Palmer SEO says, no to virtual floating silos. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Yes, the biggest, strongest no I could ever say. In your opinion, is this ineffective even when other factors are in play? Silos help rank you, do not rank because of the silo. Yes, you're ranking in spite of the silo. You're pretty much ranking in spite of the silo, and the silo can kill your rankings if you don't do it right. And we have other factors, we have other tactics which are just as good, if not better, that don't use that method. So if you're into search engine gambling, it's like, you can have a couple drinks and live to the ripe old age of 110. Doesn't mean that you should have those drinks. Like if you should take your SEO better than you take your own health, probably for the most of you. We're doing search engine optimization. We're not doing search engine mama. We're going 100% best SEO. We're not going, I'm going to do the 50% best SEO and do some random things, because that wastes time and money and it adds risk. Dan says, he said that Google removed them manually. Yeah, that's what he said. He doesn't know that. And that and a few other listings. Yeah, again, he doesn't know that. Because they figured out what he knew and what he was doing and went after his listings. Yeah, they've gone after me too, and they don't always do that necessarily. He's guessing that's what they did. He doesn't know that for sure. It could have been an update that did that. And the fact that he was lazy and he left his tests out there and they found his tests gave Google a bunch of information to, in part, make this anti SEO algorithm, which they have. That was part of that. If you lost rankings, that was partly Kyle's fault, because he left his tests out there for Google to find and then write reverse anti SEO algorithms based on it. So go tell him that. Go see what he says about that. Superfly Dude says, do newbies joining your group get access to previous tests also? Of course. You get access to all the tests that we've done. Dan the Man says, I didn't know if you generated the QDD info. Sorry, bud. No problem. No need to apologize. Yeah, and there's some of the people who've written like, QDD means query deserves diversity. It means that Google changes things. Like, they don't know what really it is. They just know what QDD stands for. So that's what you could find out there. No one that I know of out there is anywhere near close to where we are figuring that out. DD says, who are you banging at Google for your information? And is she hot? It's funny you say that, because I used to work with a guy a few hours north of where I am now, who used to work in real estate SEO. And he would talk about how that would go on. Like, you'd go to these, back in the day, like 2005 or so, 2004, you'd go to these conferences in Vegas, and there was all kinds of, well, it's a conference. And some of you know what happens at conferences. I don't. I'm married, but I have friends. And so, no, I'm banging Lady Wisdom, Lady Sophia, and I'm wooing her with science. And I literally, dude, I don't even listen to John Mueller or Gary Illich anymore. I don't listen to anybody in the industry anymore. All of my SEO knowledge comes from the scientific tests that I do. It came from my base of knowledge, which was educated guesses. And then I used that information and I did strategic testing on it. and found things. And if you're smart about the way you do testing, you can make a grand unified theory. That's why not all science courses are created equal. Yes, SEO Intelligence Agency has been doing testing even longer than I have in a structured way, but they don't do it in a way that is programmed to get a program of a grand unified theory. They do random tests based on outdated concepts, and they don't evolve. Don't tell them I said that because I don't want them to evolve. They're my competition. But that's the way it is, quite frankly. I should shut up, actually. Dan the Man says, how do I join your group program? What is the URL? I want to read more about it. It's at secretseo.guru. Secretseo.guru. It's also going to be in the description for this video. Geez, I've been here for almost an hour and a half. Raul says, I'm using Screaming Frog, Ahrefs, Search Console, Copyscape, SEMrush, Bulk 301 Checker for SEO audits. Am I missing some other tool? Yes, you can delete all those. You can get rid of all of that except for Search Console, which is free. And you can join my group. I'll save you money. Right there. You don't need to use all that. You're wasting money. Jonathan says, Jesus, Ro. Yeah. You don't need to use, you're wasting money there, dude. So get rid of all of that, except for Search Console. You still need that. Occasionally Screaming Frog, but you don't even need to buy the license unless you need to do over a 500. Oh, my lights are really going. It's raining like crazy out there. If I suddenly disappear, you know the reason why, because my powered off. You don't need any of those tools. Jonathan says, wow, you're going in hard to those guys. They must have really pissed you off. Well, yes, they took, 50% of my students when they started offering a free science group. That's what happened. We were all working together as co-hosts, and part of this science group, I invited them in so we could have a big community of scientists doing tests. And then they decided to go behind my back and make their own group and offer what seemed to people to be a free science group, which seems to be a comparable product, but for free, where I was charging $300 a month. And naturally, a bunch of people said, whoa, and they left. They can't tell the difference between how smart I am and how not smart they are. They can't tell the difference between how I'm university trained to do scientific experiments and they're not. They're like free versus $300 a month. They went there. So, and then a lot of them come back. A lot of them quit. I have spies in those groups. I know how well they succeed. Like 20% of them succeed. So those are your rough stats. You have a 20% chance of success over there, or you have a 60% chance or better in my group. I would choose the safer bet, but it depends, up to you. You can do whatever you want. So anyway, that's been enough rambling and ranting on my end, probably. Jonathan says, no way, man. Yes, that's what they did. They made up their own group, and then they offered it for free. And then they had the audacity to say it wasn't a science group when it was. And then they weren't doing SEO consultation, which they were, if you read the group very clearly. It was they said it was just a group for Pop and Cora. And well, that's not the way the students saw it who left. And I lost a couple $100,000 a year, from them doing that. So it was a jagged pill to swallow, I admit. But no, I wish them well as human beings. I wouldn't spit in their face or anything if I saw them. I wouldn't talk to them either. They're just as bitter and angry towards me, probably even more so. Funny thing is, I've had just as much problems with Chase Reiner, but for some reason we maintain this jovial kind of teasing relationship. I don't know why. Probably because Chase is got a bigger soul than they do. He's probably not as petty as they are. He's more of millennial as well. And I find that millennials are very good at letting water roll off their back, off the duck's back, which is to millennials' credit. So that's fine. Not all bitter and jaded like us Gen Xers, with Alanis Morissette playing in the background, that kind of a thing. So maybe it's a generational thing. I'm not sure, but anyway, so that's enough rambling from me. This has been the SEO Science Show. I hoped I helped some people. If you're interested in joining the group, great. I might have some more spots left. Email me at joshpaczynski@gmail.com or go read up about it at secretseo.guru. And I hope I've helped you decide whether you want to be in SEO or not and what some important things in SEO are on. I probably will not be doing this next week because next week I think is literally Christmas or Boxing Day anyway. Maybe I might sneak on and do some SEO Miss free gifts and some free SEO audits and things like that. I might let some things away for free, but we'll have to see. So I hope I've helped some people. I hope that helps you out. And Good luck in the SERPs. And if this is the last time I see you for 2019, have a have a merry rest of the year. And for those about to rank, we salute you. We'll see you next time.